Well, great. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, I love working with startups. I've started startups. I've got a new startup now in automated advertising for small business. So this is where I get excited. We've got the small companies on stage, and I want to thank Laura and David for continued commitment to the startups, because honestly, startups are the ones that sort of show us where things are going to be a couple of years from now, right? It's great to hear from the big vendors, but and many of you here, you've got 2,000 sales reps, you've got 100,000 customers, you've got a lot of legacy that you've got to hang on to. These four are all working on new ideas. They're in different areas: content, marketplaces, local consumer. So we're going to hear some neat things. Some of the ideas are old ideas done in a new way, so I think it'll be really cool. So let me just tell you, we've got Deap Ubhi from TableHero. We've got Jess Bachman from localweb, Daniel Shked from Clipcall, and Sharath Mekala from VillageDefense. And they're each going to present, and then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. So actually, Sharath, I think you're up first. Up first? Yeah. Wait. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, sorry, I got the wrong one. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. My name is Deap, and I'm from TableHero. And thanks to Street Fight for the opportunity to talk today. So I'm going to start with telling you a little bit about what TableHero is. We are reimagining mission-critical technology for restaurants. And we're starting with what we believe to be their most underutilized technological asset, their websites. Mundane and oftentimes not the most fun things to peruse for people like us, consumers, but we actually think that there's a lot of value that we can unlock there for business owners. There's one thing that we do differently than our competitors, and center of everything that we do, automation. We're a highly automated solution. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we do that. Traditionally, if you're a business owner, and my family has been in the restaurant business for over 30 years, and you have to go through this sort of exercise of getting a website up and running, you're using traditional content management systems. You guys are all familiar with Wix and Weebly and Squarespace. That's predicated on the notion that a lot of these business owners have the time and the wherewithal to actually input a lot of this content into these content management systems. And when we looked at this problem at TableHero, we thought to ourselves, that's crazy. The web has been around for decades now, and a lot of this content, a lot of this data already exists in the ether. Why are small business owners being burdened with this exercise of having to not only build their websites and input all this content, but also keep it updated? And isn't there a way to do this in a much easier way where we sort of remove that burden from business owners? And that's what we did. So I'm going to run you guys through a little demo here, a video that we did. So you're a business owner, and Huber's is actually one of our customers. You come to our platform, you type in your restaurant name, and now our system is going out and fetching and ingesting data from hundreds of sources across the web. It processes that data, and literally within a matter of seconds, it custom builds the website for that restaurant on the fly. All your metadata, name, address, phone number, pictures, map, your menus with prices, positive social reviews only, because remember, this is a website for the restaurant, and your social media links all get ingested on the fly. The menu, as you can see, is structured data. It's all third-party integrations. If you have an OpenTable integration on your website, an E24 integration, all those integrations are ingested on the fly as well. It all happens automatically. And here you can see the E24 integration also just came in on the fly. So we basically go out to the web, we recognize what this business is, we fetch all publicly available data about this particular business, and we generate this website for them on the fly. You've seen how the website pretty much self-built. It self-builds. The other thing that this website does is it stays automatically refreshed. What I mean by that is there's a couple of pieces of dynamic content on that website, particularly the reviews and the pictures. Well, the restaurant owner doesn't need to worry about inputting that content in. We're going to go out and fetch those things automatically for them and keep that content refreshed on their website. It's also mobile optimized out of the box. It's SEO optimized out of the box. We're doing sentiment analysis on all those reviews. We're only pulling in reviews that help the business put their best foot forward. And lastly, we think that this is probably a much more intuitive, user-friendly experience for the end consumer. So you've seen sort of our foundational product, this sort of digital presence manager. It's highly automated, and we thought to ourselves, what are the other tools that we can build to help our customers, restaurants, stay better connected and engaged to their customers? And we started talking to our early customers, and we asked them, what are the other things that you want to see on top of this, other services that we can build on top of this new website that you now have? And one of the most resounding pieces of feedback that we got from them was that they want to be able to capture customer leads for catering and private events. For those of you that have friends in the restaurant business or have been in the restaurant business, catering and private events is a great way to enhance your revenue for restaurants. It's higher margin revenue, and it doesn't bog down your wait staff and your dining room. And so you'll see a demo here of how a restaurant can, again, either with a single click or with a bot command, can go into their dashboard and enable this catering feature, which will then allow them to generate leads, capture leads on their website. So you click on this, you may choose a picture that better represents sort of your business, and you'll see within a matter of a few minutes the module be enabled on their actual website. We go back to the website here, and you scroll down, and there's the module right there, hosting an event. Restaurants and small local businesses also have a lot of unique things going on from time to time. Happy hours, live events, menu items that they may want to publicize. And so we built another service on top of this website that allows business owners to make custom announcements on the fly. So again, either a bot command or in the management console here, a business owner will go into the dashboard, a single click, enable the announcement, and you'll see here on the website on the right, the custom announcement is live instantaneously. And that gets pushed out to all their social media channels as well. So their Facebook, their Twitter accounts, they're all sort of unified with that particular messaging. This sort of final feature that I'll run you guys through is not one that we've launched yet, but we're launching it next week. It's one that we're very excited about. But you guys saw in that initial demo how we ingested that entire menu. And behind the scenes, what you don't see is that we actually understand that menu now. We understand that agadashi tofu is $7, and it's a flat HTML menu. And because we've ingested it in that way, tomorrow if a business owner wants to enable online takeouts on their website, again, it's a single click or a bot command, and this flat HTML menu becomes one that a customer can now place takeout orders from. It'll capture payments, it'll send the order to the restaurant, no POS integration, no additional tablets, nothing. All of a sudden, something as mundane as a restaurant website for the restaurant owner becomes something that can potentially generate additional revenue for them. Folks that have seen this presentation before ask us what customization do we allow restaurant owners. That's really not the point for us. We do allow some lightweight customization, templates and color palettes, but the sort of our DNA and our thesis is that we want to make this technology invisible for restaurant owners. We want to do whatever we can to actually make it easier. If folks want additional customization or require that kind of heavy customization, we'd actually point them towards platforms like Squarespace and Wix and Weebly. It's not really our forte. So now you guys have a pretty good sense of sort of like this, this core technology that we've built. We're a small team, 8 people. We've been around for a little over 6 months now. We're only live in a city, but we go live pan-United States at the end of this month. And I want to give you, before I leave, a little sneak peek into the next big product that we're building, which is reservations. You saw again in the earlier demo how we ingested OpenTable widgets. We do the same with SeatMe, any other reservations players that are out there. But for folks that have either not been able to afford OpenTable or want to move away from OpenTable as a solution, we're building our own native end-to-end reservations platform. Again, enabling a reservation widget on your TableHero site, a click of a button or one bot command. You see the reservation widget get enabled here. A customer books a table. On the restaurant side, they have an iPad reservation system that takes in the reservation. And if you folks are familiar with using OpenTable, this particular platform is at feature parity with OpenTable, but it takes minutes to onboard versus weeks or months as it would with OpenTable or their competition. So that's us. We're TableHero, small team. We've been around for 6 months. And I'm guessing we're going to do questions afterwards, or you can tweet questions at me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Awesome, great, Deap. And next we'll hear from Jess at LocalWeb.
Hello? Cool. So I'm Jess from LocalWeb. I have 41 slides to power through, so let's just get started here. Local apps. Who doesn't love local apps? I have a phone full of local apps. I have apps to find a date, apps to find something to do on a date, apps to find some place to eat on a date, just tons and tons of apps. And these are the local problems we have that are large enough, have a large enough market size to even warrant an app or warrant a solution. But there's a long tail of problems out there, and they're mostly local in nature, and they have a total addressable market size in the single digits or double digits. And they're not worth investors' time or startups or apps, but in aggregate, they add up to a lot of frustration and a lot of opportunity as well. So we have the World Wide Web, which is the ultimate problem solver. So who can't start a website or a blog or social media to call attention to their worldwide issues? But what are our local problem solvers? What is our platform for that? What if there was, or is it websites? Is it social media? Is it apps? I don't really think it's either of these three, or they're just not doing a good enough job with it. So what if there was something that was like the World Wide Web, that was just as broad and just as flexible, but just local in nature? There is. It's called the local web, which I'm here for. So basically, or it's also called the mild wide web, which some people have said, or the local Reddit, which people have said as well. Whoops. So this is a local web URL. You can go to it. You can post about the giants. You can read about the giants. But what you post and what you see there has a range of about 2 miles. So /giants in San Francisco is a different conversation than /giants in Oakland. It's the same URL, but it's a different audience, so there's a different conversation going on there. The front page of the local web is a list of all the slashes that people have created in your area, sorted by activity. So this is essentially what people are talking about and thinking about within about 2 miles. And soon you'll be able to filter that down to 100 meters. So what are people talking about and thinking about on your block or in your apartment building is ultimately sort of what we're after. And we think it'll be a lot more compelling than what we're currently using to find out what's trending locally, like hashtag the Bachelorette or whatever. So creating a local web URL or a slash is easy. Step 1, you type it into the browser. So I passed Crossroads Cafe walking up here. So on my phone, I'm just going to go to localweb.is /Crossroads Cafe and then go there. All URLs already exist. You should try it out. Step 2 is I'm just going to post something like what's good to have here. And then once you post that, /Crossroads Cafe becomes live on the front page for anyone to see or discover within the area. It's now a place for their customers to interact with each other, or for them to interact with their customers, like maybe they ask, what's your favorite brew, or what's your favorite Star Wars character? And this natural conversation brings /Crossroads Cafe higher up on the front page, so they're seen by more people within walking distance. So I think it can be social media for businesses that actually works because it's only local. That's use case number 273 of the local web. That is not a random number. There's actually 272 other use cases that I've written up about on our blog, 1000ways.org, and eventually we'll get up to that number. Here's a few more. /morning selfie, where you wake up and you take a photo of yourself first thing in the morning and you post it as a sort of protest against having to look good all the time. Or /find hunter, which is a way to find a lost cat, and this URL is more easily shared or can go viral much easier than this piece of paper that's taped to a tree. Or /parenting, where you can talk to other parents in your area who share the same schools and the same resources anonymously or not. So I've actually written over 50,000 words about what the local web can be and what it will be here in the next 18 months. So you should spend a few hours or days reading all that stuff. So the point of all these use cases is that they're not startups and they're not apps. In order to get /morning selfie going, the prerequisites are you have a browser and you look like a hot mess in the morning. Beyond that, you really don't need anything else. So we're trying to take the act of creation and the act of problem solving, at least locally, down to a place where everyone can sort of access that. I think we all know that local is much more than icons on a map, and that the space between these dots has a lot of value, and we're just not capturing that value at all, which is a shame. And the World Wide Web came along and it did its thing and it connected us all as a planet. But I think what we need now is a platform that's just as broad and just as flexible to come along and connect us all together again. And I think that's going to be the local web. This is a URL that you can go to, and I'll answer questions if you want to, as long as we're still sort of in the area. And lastly, I just wanted to say thank you for David and the rest of the Street Fight team for taking a chance on this bizarre sort of experiment and inviting me out here. So thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. That's a really cool kind of crowdsource, free-form approach to what Nextdoor and folks like that are doing. So I think it'll be cool. Everybody check it out. Next, we have Daniel Shked from Clipcall. There we go.
So glad to be here. My name is Dan. I'm the founder and CEO of Clipcall. For those who wonder what this accent, I just relocated 3 months ago with my family to the Bay Area from Israel and to build Clipcall. I'm somehow passionate about the local space. I've dedicated 10 years of my life building solutions for that space. This is my second company. The first one founded in 2007, pretty unique pay-per-call, real-time bidding marketplace for SMBs. So with Clipcall, we are very focused on making the home project experience great. Like, let me ask you a question. How many of you had an experience with plumbers or movers or roofers during the last, I don't know, couple months? Right, how was it? Did you enjoy the experience? Yeah, pretty good. Do you enjoy? I didn't. And many of people are not enjoying this kind of experience. The process actually is broken. It is annoying. It is proven that people, when they need something to fix at their home or need some home improvement kind of project, they are in stress. That's why my first company was called No Problem, because they feel a big problem. So the interaction is clearly stressful, inefficient today. Most of the interaction with the service professionals is offline. People call each other, meet each other, chat, send text messages. Everything is like a mess, and nothing is structured in a project-oriented way. So when you are thinking about it, why is that a mess? We see this poor plumber, like 25 to 30% of his life is dedicated to doing plumbing. The rest of the time, he's dealing with lots of logistics. And how do we help this guy to communicate with those tough customers? And the customers, believe me, they are tough as well. They want value for their money. So basically, we try to help those guys by rating them. I don't know if that helps. Or by trying to build price lists and tell them that we will make a product out of your service, like if it's a barcoded product. A wall of square foot of painting would cost that and that amount of money. So when you talk to those plumbers and painters, they want to be on that marketplace, but his margins are pushed by price, and he has to compromise quality. So he'll paint like just 2 layers, not 3. So this is what we're trying to fix. And we are a mobile market network for discovery and transaction management, collaboration between service professionals and customers. And the way we do it, we build a mobile software, which is a workflow, but a communication software to power that transaction. And this is a pretty long and pretty stressful and highly emotional transaction. Imagine you need to renovate your house. Imagine you need to fix your roof. It might take weeks, lots of coordinations, lots of discussions around, lots of change requests. So we have to provide a tool for both sides to be much more efficient in managing that transaction, and by that, to own the entire transaction. So the way we see it works, we believe that a good marriage, someone mentioned marriage at the investors panel before, starts with a good date. It's not a blind date. And the best way is to show yourself, show your project. So when people launch our Clipcall app, we launch it in a video mode, and we tell people, do the most intuitive way is show what you need and speak freely. We guide the people with a layer of information on top of the video, like a teleprompter. What are the right things to say? What are the important things to mention? So everything that matters to the other side of the vendors. When that video is created, and the average size of the video after a couple hundreds of videos done so far is around not more than a minute, and a minute is around 300 words. You cannot capture 300 words online through some kind of a web form or whatever. There is an entirely new layer of information that comes up with that video lead. It's like the pro feels how committed the customer is, what he sees in the background. It's not just the job itself. So it's very committed customer. As soon as that video is created, it is pushed to all the vendors that are matched within this radius for this vertical. They watch the video and they can respond. They have lots of ways to respond to that customer. But the customer has a project triggered. It's a group. It's a closed group where every vendor can respond. And the vendors responding either through calling this person, through our internal telephony system, or can have a real-time video conference with that user instead of a physical house call just to provide a quote. Think how inefficient this process is, where people need to wait for plumbers Thursday 5 to 9, and those guys would be late for sure. And the plumbers need to drive miles and miles for like 10% chance or maybe 20 to win that as a job. How inefficient this process can be. Why not leverage a real-time video conferencing? And of course, an instant messaging. So it's a communication app around a project. And the good part about it, that everything is recorded. Everything is tracked. Every video, every phone call, it's recorded and it's available for both sides. That's the contract. Where people are collaborating and talking, it's all there. So there are no disputes, and people tend to create less misunderstandings when they are recorded. So it's all available there. Even the video conferencing cross-device, iOS, Android, is recorded. And I've talked about the real-time video conference. The users can, of course, schedule meetings, set their favorite pros, pay the pros through the app. So basically, we've created a very holistic approach, I believe, where people can communicate in a better way around the project, get quotes. We are building today a full another collaboration access of service professionals with their ecosystem of subcontractors, because this is how they work. They want to talk to their subcontractors, to their teams, around and coordinate activities around that project without the knowledge of the user. So this is the kind of a market network that we're building here. And of course, approve projects, track the teams online, reporting, scheduling, and payment processing. So we started a couple months ago. We started a closed beta in February. We so far have over 500 businesses joining 40 a week. Those businesses cover around 800 verticals so far. We don't have a sales force, but we do a lot of social and a lot of growth hacks to acquire those businesses. We have a good supply in San Francisco Bay Area, New York, New Jersey, and Los Angeles. We have around 30 projects a week at this point, which I wrote it here. The average price or gross value of those projects, like simple maintenance task, would be $300, but we just got, as we speak, a job which is valued at $150,000, a big renovation. So there are bigger stake projects are getting in, which present a different kind of challenge. Our business model, of course, is to take cut of that transaction.
We've You've got to wind up.
Yeah, so I'm in a second. The big vision here, make it higher. The big vision here is to create a transactional network where people can collaborate with pros, but pros can collaborate with their ecosystem of subcontractors, and people can collaborate, customers can collaborate with their ecosystem of friends and family to show them and get their opinion of what's done around their houses. We're a team of 12, 8 people in, 10 people, sorry, in Israel. This is our engineering talent there. Myself and Dan, customer success manager here, just 2 buildings away. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. Next, we'll hear from Sharath Mekala on something that's, when you look at sort of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, very close to the base when you talk about security.
Hello?
Is that working?
Hello? Hello? All right, let's do this one.
There we go.
Great.
From VillageDefense.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I'll start off with a couple stories. 2 major events that really shaped my life. The night that Steve Jobs passed away, I was in Atlanta, and I said some prayers for Steve over right next to the Martin Luther King's birth home, and I got held up by gunpoint by 4 guys that evening. And it changed my life because I had never felt so alone in my life before. I'd never been so appreciative of my life afterwards. The second event was when my door got kicked in Atlanta on the west side of town, and my neighbor saw what was happening but had no way of letting anyone know what was going on. Again, I felt alone. My name is Sharath Mekala. I'm the CEO and co-founder of VillageDefense. We're building the ways for crime. As you know, this world is getting extremely connected and social, yet safety is still a solo effort. It doesn't really make sense, does it? There's so many opportunities for technology to bring us together and treat each other as humans. Looks like the slide got messed up, but we think that you should be able to tap into the network of people around you to stay safe, the same way that Waze allows you to connect and tap into the network of drivers to outsmart traffic. Let me show you how it works. When an incident is taking place, right, you use our mobile app, you send an alert, and that alert gets sent out to everyone within your radius, within your neighborhood. Within seconds, everyone gets a text message, everyone gets pushed into a live chat, crowdsourcing this information. This is how the product looks right now. So when a crime is happening, as I mentioned, you can report the incident. That gets sent out as a text, and everyone hops into a chat. Currently, we're in about 1,000 neighborhoods in about 300 cities, growing by 22% month over month user growth. And our team is stacked with risk management backgrounds. I was a community organizer at the nighttime, and I also have engineering, and we also have data. So we've got a combination of data, community, and engineering on our team. We were also going through 500 startups last year. I'm really excited about that opportunity. Now, this is where the magic happens. We have information that's being crowdsourced by people, by humans, but we're also layering publicly available data. And that combination is an incredible combination that can be tapped into. This real-time information, many industries rely on it, right? If they don't get this type of information, they're gonna get left behind. So you imagine, we have information that can help the cops catch the bad guys. We have information that's captured within our chats, all the data that's not being captured by insurance claims people or people that are looking for this information or getting it from 911. So we have this data that can be directly plugged into. Now, the question is, how do we make money? We looked at a couple of markets, the real estate market, the insurance market, law enforcement. We started seeing that in the insurance market, companies spend $80 billion a year, or actually get stolen. That money gets stolen because of insurance fraud. Insurance companies are looking for ways to engage with their policyholders. They're also trying to get more data so that they can verify whether or not this information is valid or not before they pay out a claim. We have that information that's happening on the ground that can be fed directly to claims adjusters, investigators. I mean, it's not the sexiest industry, but it's also an awesome opportunity to modernize and to connect with policyholders and to empower all these policyholders. That's an untapped market. It's the best opportunity for us right now. Insurance companies are spending a lot more on their IT budgets. There's about $500 billion in property and casualty markets, which is our sweet spot. And there's 7,000 insurers. I just came back from an InsurTech pitch session, and they definitely thought there were companies and carriers that thought that this would be a great opportunity to plug into their investigative units. So the way that it would work would be insurers would pay a subscription fee for these calls to our API. This information can be very helpful for their policyholders. Suppose you're about to park in a parking lot in San Francisco, and within seconds you get a notification, kind of like a Google Now notification that tells you, Jack, you should probably know that there were 2 break-ins in this parking lot an hour ago, right? That's where the magic happens. Right? You don't have to fetch any crime reports. You're basically getting it fed to you in your real life. So that's the API. Now for the SaaS platform that allows investigators and claims adjusters to get this information so they don't have to go hunt for it. We have a reoccurring SaaS model for them. And then the great thing for policyholders, have a chance to reduce their premium or earn money. So we can incentivize people to do the right thing. When we ask people, they would love to do that. They already get premium discounts for home alarm systems or getting a fire extinguisher. They should definitely get a premium discount for reducing the risk and being a risk mitigator in the areas that they live or work or play in. So again, my name is Sharath Mekala. This is Ways for Crime. Looking forward to learning a little bit more, and I'm looking for strategic partnerships and investors.
Well, thank you guys. That was a great look at each of the businesses. Now we're just going to talk for a few minutes, and if anybody has a burning question. But just to start, I mean, the toughest thing for startups is getting attention, right? In this market where there's 1,000,000,001 solutions for every different problem, how do you get attention? 2 of you are looking at businesses, 2 of you are looking at more consumer. Can you tell me one person or company in the room, somebody in the local ecosystem that you wish you could partner with, and what you do for them materially that would make them want to partner with you?
We'll do anything it takes. Like, look, it's always, I think, about the demand side, about the users, about gaining traffic, about getting the attention for your app and solution. So any distribution platform that aims towards, from my perspective, to own the huge market of transactions, of money that is currently flowing from everybody's pockets to the pockets of service professional.
Who's one in specific, though, that you could name that might be?
Yelp, Thumbtack.
Yep.
Like, those guys are selling leads.
And what would you bring them? Just a new way of getting at the contractor demand?
I think we both have the same vision of making that kind of interaction a much better one. We want to empower the service professionals. So sharing the same vision, I think the tools and the approach are there, and that's about it.
Okay. Deap?
Yeah, so good question. I think, for a player like us, we're looking at obviously folks that have reached some degree of maturity in the F&B space, so an OpenTable or a Yelp. I think that have that are suffering from maybe a bit of innovator's dilemma. After having gone public, there's very little incentive to really rock the boat, and I think that those become interesting distribution platforms for a player like us.
What do you bring them, though, specifically, right? Because I've had this discussion a lot of times.
Right.
They say, hey, we're a public company, we got lots of numbers to meet, now owned by a public entity. What are you going to bring
I think that if you look at both of the companies that I mentioned, they both have at most maybe 1 or 2 product lines that are revenue generating product lines for them,
Okay.
Be it OpenTable or Yelp. And I think that there are a handful of players in the market that actually benefit from more local merchants becoming savvy about how to just be online citizens. And I think that whether that's Google that's trying to drive up the amount of customers that may eventually pay for clicks to websites, or maybe a player like OpenTable that wants to get more folks online reservation enabled, but they don't have enough tools to help those merchants get online. I think that
Awesome.
there's a lot of folks out there that I think benefit from that.
Just want to make sure we just got a few seconds. Can you just give us who here? Name a name and what you do for them, real.
I mean, this one's easy. It sounds kind of hopeful, but it's I would say Google. I would say Google because I think we can uncover the crime layer of the world. And so they've had the traffic layer that's layered on top of maps, and
Great.
I definitely think we could be the go-to source for the crime
Awesome. And
information.
Jess? 10
Yeah,
seconds.
I wouldn't want to partner with anyone yet because I don't really know what the local web is. Currently, the top slash in this area is people sharing haikus. So we need to do more experimentation to find out who would be a good partner.
Awesome. Everybody, I'd like to thank these 4 companies and come up and see them if you've got something you can do for them. Thanks so much, guys.